Hey everyone, Tech Steve here, and on this video, I'm going to compare three televisions for you guys. So you've been asking me about the new Samsung models, and today we're going to compare the 2020 Samsung Q60T against the 2021 Q60A, and over here we have the 2022 Q60B. So in this video, we're going to explore the operating system, we're going to look at picture tests, I'm going to show you guys the remote control and much more. So sit back and relax, and let's get started. First thing I'm going to show you is the rear cover before we plug everything in. You can see there's some holes right here for mounting it on the wall. There's a ventilation slot as well as a smooth texture back here. And let's take a closer look at the inputs. There's two USBs, there's three HDMIs, one of them eARC, there's an ATSC tuner, a fiber optic output, composite inputs for older VCRs, DVD players, and it does have Ethernet input for hooking it directly to a router. Another thing about this TV, there's also a slot right here for security. Next, we're going to take a look at the Q60A. Now, this back cover definitely has changed. It's a lot smoother now. You still have the screw holes to mount it on the wall. You have your power cord input. And one thing I noticed, they got rid of the print, so you can't see this as well. But it does have two USBs, a LAN connection. There's three HDMIs, one of them's eARC. You also have an ATSC 2.0 tuner and a fiber optic output. One thing you notice is they removed the composite inputs. And here we have the Q60B. Now you see it still looks like the Q60A. One thing that did change is the feet design is a little bit different, and I'll show you a side view of that in just a minute. And it has the exact same input. So you can see there's two USBs, LAN connection, three HDMIs, ATSC 2.0 tuner, and a fiber optic output. So here's the side view of all TVs. You can see the Q60T is a lot thicker. The legs are like a V. When they moved into the new models, it's a lot thinner, and the legs are more, flat. And then over here, the newer model Q60B, again, is still thin, and it's got like this L-shaped type bracket. For the next part of this video, we're going to get into all the performance of the television as far as the brightness, contrast, and things like that. But I want to let you guys know up front that I'm overexposing my camera, and this is a recording, as you know. So I can show you guys the backlights and more details, but I will tell you, if you purchase any of these TVs, you may not see that with your eyes, because the camera's going to pick up more details that we can't see. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Before we jump into this, I want to show you that I have put all TVs in movie mode, and that's cinema for most other brands. I also went to the expert settings, and I factory reset everything, so everything should be exactly the same on all three TVs. So let's jump right into some demonstrations. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is a contrast test. Looking at all three TVs, I think they look decent, but the one that's really standing out to me is that the Samsung Q60T in the middle has a different tone to it than the other two televisions. It's a little bit more on the warmer side. Next, we have a uniformity test, and to me, right now, this Q60T looks pretty good, but you can see a little vignetting around the corners. And as we walk through these televisions, it seems like the same theme, that you get a little vignetting around the corner, and maybe that's because these are edge-lit backlights instead of direct light. And when you look at the tones, it looks like the Q60T is a little more darker than the other two models, but the Q60B is the brightest of all the televisions. And here we are with a dot test, and I really think the Q60A looks the best to me. Again, when you get over to the Q60B, it's just way too much light. Now, maybe you can go in there and adjust it, but keep in mind, all these TVs are at the exact same settings. Plus, I went to the menu, turned off any type of automatic brightness or anything like that. So just way too bright. And here's the star field test. Now, to me, in this particular test, it looks like the Q60T actually looks better than the other two models. Plus, you can see the uniformity of the grayness. And again, I really think the Q60T actually looks more uniform than the other two models. So if you see all these star fields coming in, again, that Q60B, not sure if it's something that Samsung did with the software, but to me, it just doesn't look as good as the other two models. All right, so here's a motion test, and looking at all three televisions, to me, everything looks pretty much identical. Now, I didn't go into the settings and adjust anything, but again, to me, they look almost the same. So let's try another motion test. Again, the motion looks almost completely identical to me when I look at this. So I think you guys wouldn't have a problem if you went with the older one or the newer one. All three of these TVs are VA panels, so the Blumen is pretty satisfactory overall. So here's some HDR content on all three televisions, and I will tell you that I'm running it at 600 nits. But one thing I noticed is that the Q60T, the sky is more bluer and it just seems like it has better colors. As you go up the line, it seems like there's a little bit of takeaway in all the different models, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Looking at this scene right here, you see the buffaloes, a lot more detailed. You can see more yellow in the sunlight coming out. Now we're gonna take a look at the difference between the HDR and SDR. So we have HDR on this side, SDR on this side. And you can see that the HDR is much brighter and it's more detailed in all three TVs. Now, no matter what test we've done so far, it just seems like the 2022 is designed for HDR. I feel that the colors are coming in better. I feel like everything's a lot brighter. You can see more details in the television and it just seems like it just pops. So now I'm going to show you guys the viewing angles. And in my opinion, I think the 2022 model and the 2020 model has better viewing angles. So if you look all the way over there, that's the Q60T. This is the Q60B 2022. And if you look at the 2021, the Q60A, the viewing angles, in my opinion, are not as good. But you guys can tell me what you think in the comments below. These are the viewing angles on all three televisions. I know that was a lot of footage, but I do that so you guys can make your own decisions on which TV works for you, and you can play this back as many times you like. So if you're going to ask me which one do I like, the video is the answer. Now let's get into some gaming. Now I'm going to check the input lag on all three televisions. I have all of them in gaming mode, and the Q60T is getting 1.9 milliseconds. Let's go over here to the Q60A. And it looks like we're getting about 8.9 milliseconds. And let's go over here to the Q60B. And this one is get 25.1 milliseconds, but it could be the cable I have connected. So let me try connecting it directly. All right, so I have the TV back in gaming mode. Now we're going to try the input lag once again. So this one's reading 9.1. Now this is interesting. I have all three TVs reconnected to the Xbox. And if you look here, I have it set up as 1080p at 120 hertz. The Q60T actually supports it, where the Q60A and the new Q60B does not support it. So let's change the resolution. If I go back down to 60 hertz, they all should flicker, and there you have it. So if you're looking to play 1080p at 120 hertz, you can own the Q60T, but you cannot on the Q60A or the Q60B. We can also do 1440 at 60 hertz on all three televisions. So now I have all the TVs back in 4K mode. If we look at TV details, you see they all will support 4K at 60 hertz. They will not support 120 hertz. But just remember, if you want to do 1080p at 120 hertz, even though it's a 60 hertz panel, the Q60T will support it. The other TVs will not. Also, they do have low latency mode on all the TVs, but the splitter's keeping it from working. And they do not support variable refresh rate, nor does Samsung support Dolby Vision. They have one that's called HDR10 Plus. With the TVs in gaming mode, if you press and hold down the play pause button, you can see that the Q60A and the Q60B have a gaming mode. And here you can see the frame rate of the television. You also can change the different refresh rate and do some more features that the Q60T cannot do. The next thing you guys do ask about is the speakers itself, especially during the comparison. So I recorded all three of these on separate videos. I put it all together, and there's a clear winner here. And leave a comment below and tell me what you think. So it's pretty obvious that the Q60T has the better sound, and it's mainly because this is one of Samsung's older cabinets, so the speakers inside of it are much larger. If you look at the newer models, they sound decent, but because the panel is this thin, you lost the audio. I have made full videos on these televisions showing you guys the menu system and on TechSteve tutorials. I will show you more as I get to those videos, but the biggest thing is the Q60T uses Tizen 5.5, the Q60A uses Tizen 6.0, and the Q60B uses the new Tizen 6.5. So they all work pretty similar, except for the new Tizen operating system on the Q60B allows you to use your smartphone to calibrate it, and the menu GUI is a little bit more geared towards whatever input you're on, the TV changes its interface to match up. Here's all three remote controls. I have them in the same order as they come with the TV. So let's take a closer look. This is the remote control that comes with the Q60T. On the top, you're going to find your power button. There's a microphone. There's also some primary keys for certain applications, as well as a microphone button. You have an ambient mode, your navigation up and down, hit center to OK it. You have your back, home, play, pause. You also have your volume up and down, press to mute, channel up and down, as well as hotkeys for Netflix, Prime Video, and Samsung TV. Now this remote control does use AA batteries. And here we have the remote control that comes with the Q60A. Now it has the exact same keys. There's a little hump in the center right there. One thing about this remote is that it does have a solar panel on the back, and there's a port for charging with a USB-C. And this remote control is the one that comes with the Q60A. The same exact button layout. You also can see that it's extremely thin. You still have the solar on the back, plus there's a port for charging it with a USB cable. I try not to recommend televisions on this channel, but I'll give you guys some insights of what I think after filming all these TVs. When it comes to the Q60T, I like the fact that it has the composite input for older devices. I like the fact that it has the better audio system, and I like the fact that it did accept a 1080p 120 Hz signal. Overall, I really think the Q60A is much brighter than the other two TVs. Additional to that, I like the fact that the black levels seem to be better during those tests as well, and it does have a lot of the newer features like the gaming modes, and it has a new remote control with the solar. Now when it comes to the Q60B, one thing this television has is a lot more features. So I didn't go over all that in this video, but you can actually calibrate this television using a smart device, which is pretty cool. But overall, it seems like the black levels wasn't as good as I expected. So there you have it. So if you guys like my content, you might want to head over to TechSteve tutorials, where I'm uploading videos how to use televisions. And if you are interested in these TVs, I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm TechSteve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!